Hey, Valerie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me today for the second episode of Startup Tuesday.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. For those of you that don't know Valerie, it's Valerie Martinelli, and she is a business and leadership coach. So she does all sorts of business and leadership coaching. And she also writes for lots of places. She's on the Forbes Coaches Council. And you write in so many places, like so many articles every week for Forbes, Careers in Government, League of Women in Government. So much great information in these articles. So I thought, I need to get Valerie to come on with me so that I can pick her brain.
I'm happy to be here.
And
You can pick
so,
away.
yeah, so the brain picking is going to start. And, I'm not trying to be a man hater because I'm not. I love men, but there's been a lot of stuff in the news lately. And, I've been hearing lots of women, talking about their experiences in the workplace and discrimination that they've encountered. And I know that you hear lots of stories and you know a lot about this. So that is what I would like to pick your brain about.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Lots to share.
Okay. So do you think this is a new thing, or do you think it's something that has been happening all along, or like, why is this starting? It just seems like every day there's a new story in the news.
I definitely don't think it's new. I just think that we're hearing more about it. I think personally, we're just going to keep hearing more about it. Since Trump has taken office, we are definitely, I think these reports have just increased. Harassment, bullying, sexual harassment, all of these things have just been on the uptick. There's lots of people that have just been stating this over and over and over again, whether it's been in the workplace or outside of the workplace. They just feel as though that the general tone has been of resentment and we're just not kind to each other at all anymore. So it just seems like it's carried over into the workplace too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've worked with lots of companies. I worked in a variety of industries. And, at some places, completely fine. I've worked in tech environments where all the guys were great, but then I've worked in others where I'm just like, oh, right, who's going to harass me today? What's going to happen, And I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
I feel like you have a bullseye on your back.
yeah. And I know it's sad to say, but I got used to it, like I got used to going to meetings and the guys, this is Silicon Valley stuff. And, the guys just not even talking about work. I remember I drove 3 hours to meet with this Silicon Valley CEO. And, I really wanted to talk about what they were doing and their social media and everything. And I got there and he was like, so who are you dating now? And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, not happy about that. Because it's like you're not being taken.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it's like, you're not being taken seriously, or, maybe you are. I mean, he did ask for my opinions on things now and then, but, constantly just going to, this thing. I had another CEO who was like, why are you doing this? Why do you work so hard? He's like, why don't you should be a senator's wife. I was like, what? I was like, no, I'm busy doing stuff. I'm not, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a senator's wife, but he was saying it like, don't work and just be a senator's wife and stand there.
Yeah, the notion of sexism it's so overt now, it's ridiculous. I've been there too, going into big donor calls and big conference calls for congressional campaigns and such, and you can counter it so much. The tone is just sit there and take notes and don't talk. No one wants to hear your opinion. No one wants to know that you're there. No one wants you to speak. it's a lot of men, and they all want you to hear what they have to say, and a lot don't want to hear what you have to say. Obviously, not every man is like this, but, and obviously not every organization is like this, but there's so many that they get away with a lot, and it's ridiculous. It's time to really start changing the way things are and to get more women pushed forward, and that's something that I've been working a lot on. That's something that a lot of my coaching focuses on, trying to get women to have the skills, the confidence. A lot of it is on confidence. To stand there and say, don't treat me like that. I'm here to work, to learn, to advance myself, and to be the same equal in this workplace that you are. And that's something where we're falling short still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even in my own companies, I have had some issues. I've had clients that just constantly ask me out, and I was just like, are they just working with me, because they think they can ask me out, it gets them closer to me, or what, and I feel like I've had to, I just felt like I've had to smack down even my own clients in ways. They would just be like, look, I'm here to work. I'm not here to go on a date. Do you want me to grow your stuff? Do you want me to help you? Or are you just like looking for a girl to go out with, So it's a constant battle that I don't think guys get it, and I don't think they're totally, like to blame, because I don't even think they realize, a lot of them don't realize they're doing it, they're not doing it to be a-holes, but they're just doing it because they don't know how to do anything else.
A lot of it is culture and social norms, though, too. We're conditioned to act a certain way, to be a certain way. Like when we were younger, we were taught to be good, to sit there and behave in the classroom. A lot of girls, we didn't ask questions, we didn't raise our hands, we didn't speak up. How did that carry over when we got to college or grad school and then into the workplace? And, do we talk during meetings? No, probably not. Do we raise our hand? Do we speak up? We think that we're still supposed to sit there and take it, basically. And you can't. Especially when you work for yourself, that's probably one of the worst things, because it's your business and you need to run it, how you see fit and for you. And you're not there to, be taken advantage of. Your clients shouldn't be doing that to you. I get it too. Sometimes there's, whether it's a guy trying to sell me something or trying to sign up for my services or whatever you can come up with. They try to basically run you in a circle to try and get you to do whatever it is that they want you to do for them. And you can't be like that. So stand up for yourself. Whatever you do, stand up for yourself. I mean, don't let them run you in a circle. Don't ever let anyone run you in a circle, actually. But,
yeah, I'm a lot better at recognizing it now. I mean, because this stuff happened, back, when I was first starting the company and consulting and things. Yeah. So I guess I should say it's not happening now, or, but because now I'm like, okay, I can, detect it better, after those things happened. I'm just like, oh, I can kind of figure out, is the guy taking too long? Is he having too many calls with me? Is he calling me at weird hours? Or, so at least I see the red flags now, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and see, these are things I think that, we're in a position to kind of share with other younger women, so that they can understand, and then they can learn how to recognize these things so that they're not put into the same position. So they can, learn how to have the confidence themselves, learn how to do these things, learn how to stand up for themselves, learn how to say no, learn when to say no, learn when to, tell them to stop or whatever have you. They need to, not everyone has the same amount of skills as the other. Not everyone has the same amount of courage or confidence as the other. And if we don't keep trying to grow confidence for each other, I feel like, we all, as women, we all need each other. That's the other thing. We talk about man-hating because as feminists, that's where we're labeled a lot, right? We're labeled as man-haters. What about women bashing women, though?
Right.
That's a whole other problem. And, we can't do that either. I feel like we need to stand for each other and grow each other, too.
Yeah, and I think we're all getting better at that. I think, supporting each other. And, like I had a guy say to me not too long ago, he's like, well, what do you talk about in these groups? Like the women's groups and stuff. He's like, he actually thought that we were sitting around bashing men. And I'm like, no, I mean, maybe sometimes, well, I was just joking, but like, maybe sometimes if it's like, some CEO who tried to ask me out instead of signing me on or something like that, if I'm talking about a story like that, but I don't see it as bashing. It's more like we're trying to get to the root of the problem, and I mean, is it happening because it's just been men in Silicon Valley? I mean, I always go back to Silicon Valley. I'm like, because I see it, with the tech, the high tech clients and CEOs is where I have seen it. And the venture on the venture capital side, I've seen a lot of great, there have been a lot of great men. There have been men who've invested in me, but then I've also seen men who are just like, they treat me like I'm 5.
I mean, there's always, great men around. I've had great men around me, my own coaches in hell. So I can't bash men, but, there's always, unfortunately, a bad apple sitting around spoiling it for everyone else, right? The same way with anything else in life. I think a lot of it is role modeling. Think about it. We know what we see and we know what we learn, right? So if we don't see enough women around and we can't aspire to what we see, then how do we know what we want to do when we're younger? It's hard for younger girls to say, I want to be like her, when there's no her for her to point her finger to. So I think for guys, when they look at somebody and they say, well, I want to be like him, it's easier because there's a lot of them. Right.
I mean, that does make sense. There aren't a lot of, female founders, high level to look up to, at least for me. I was just, I was pretty disappointed when I was in this, it was like a startup school. I was pretty disappointed that I think we had like 20 different classes, and I think 2 or 3 of them, were led by women. And the women weren't like, Sheryl Sandberg. It was nobody like big, I didn't see anyone like that. I mean, they, just as far as like on the CEO level, I they didn't have anyone. So that think about
who role models usually are. I mean, I could tell you, some of people, you think of, you aspire. Hillary Clinton, Sheryl Sandberg, Oprah. Usually big names that always come up, right? Usually those are because those women hold the qualities that we want, or we aspire, or that we have, and we don't even realize that we have them. But it's hard because we haven't had women like that around us all of our lives. Younger generations, will, because we're working harder on it, or we hope that they will. But, for us, it's been harder because tech, government, both sectors are rife with sexism. They don't have enough women. We need to get more in there, for sure. It's so hard because you look at it. I mean, how many women have run for president? How many women have started tech companies? How many women CEOs are there? How many female founders are there? How many high-level executive women are there in big tech companies? How many women in Congress are there? How many female governors are there? I mean, handfuls, if that, right? It's hard for a little girl to say, well, Mom, I want to be like her when I grow up. I want to do that. There's nothing for her to look at.
Right. And then people that are motivated, women like me, people think you're crazy. And they're like, why do you work so much? Why aren't you a senator's wife? Why aren't you? But I think a lot of senators' wives do work really hard though. Like, I don't want to say anything bad about them, but like they look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, actually, this is what people should be doing. You should be building things and using your talents and helping the world, I think.
People make comments like that, and they don't realize there are senators' wives that are doctors and lawyers.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, he was thinking of like the traditional, like 1940, 1950.
Okay, well, we're past that. That time period is long gone, so that doesn't apply anymore. That's just a stereotype, and that's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
To me, that's what you call unconscious bias. You're just applying your subtle thoughts to somebody else where it doesn't belong.
Right, because now...
You work hard, I work hard. We both work a lot of hours, but that doesn't mean that, you can't have a social life. That doesn't mean that you can't have a private life. That just means that you work hard. It doesn't mean that you should be somebody's quote-unquote trophy wife either, but...
Yeah, that's what he meant, trophy wife. There's the word.
Yeah.
There's the word. But yeah, I mean, look at Michelle Obama. Look how hard she worked,
Exactly, and she's brilliant.
Yeah.
She's brilliant in her own right. So, look at Mrs. Biden. Also brilliant in her own right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, she was busy.
Mrs. Bush, even with being a teacher, heavy into education, like we don't need to educate children. I mean, there's so many women that are so intelligent, and I don't think that we give them enough credit. Just for being intelligent and successful, just because we expect them to be a quote-unquote trophy wife, you can't impose your standard on somebody else. That is, to me, definitely unconscious bias. That's something else that we need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, why don't they see it? Because these guys are smart, and a lot of them don't see it. And these are smart guys, and, like something that did happen recently is I was told I couldn't attend a meeting for my own company because I'm a girl, and because it would throw the whole tone of the meeting off, and things wouldn't go well because other guys would be nervous if I was there. And I was just like, I don't know. That was really annoying.
Distraction?
Yeah. But it's like, I'm the one that came up with this. I'm the best person to be there talking about this and, going through the presentation, and then they're asking me to prep them for the meeting,
But you can't go?
Right. Yeah. I mean, this already.
I don't think so.
Right. I can't go, but hey, can you help me? And what should I say about this? And what should I tell them about this? And I was like, I was helping and I was prepping, but then I was just like, you know what? This is crap. This is really crap that I'm, preparing people to go to a meeting to like talk for me. It's not like, I mean, this is the US. This is 2017.
Yeah, and we're being treated like it's 1980, or we're being paid like it's 1980. And No. To me, in a sense, to me, that's like office housework, because you're not there to prep them and do their duties and, be there but not be seen, or however you want to label it. But if they can't control themselves or handle it, that's their problem, not yours.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's like telling a woman to not dress a certain way because you might distract a man. Well,
yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit, the office housekeeping? And I was just reading an article, about women and how, when we're at work, there are things that you see, I mean, it says, don't make sure you don't do it, but it's kind of like, oh, the bathroom doesn't have toilet tissue. The guys aren't going to replace it and the women end up putting it on the thing, or, there's no coffee, so the woman makes it. So what should you do in that situation when you're in the office and there's no coffee?
I'll tell you what to do if there's no toilet paper and you need it. I guess you have absolutely no option but to go get some. But I mean,
Right.
no one wants to be in that situation, even if they're at home. But also, it's common courtesy to replace it if you finish it.
Right. Like the guys don't replace it. They just leave it. Yeah. Is what, the
not,
stories I'm hearing.
That's rude. If you finish something, you replace it. And to me, I don't care what your gender is.
Right.
You can, come on. You can't make coffee if you're a guy. I know plenty of men that make their own coffee. Come on. Really? I know older men that even make their own coffee.
Yeah. I mean, my dad makes my dad makes all the coffee. He cooks. He does all that stuff. Yeah.
My dad too. I mean, come on. You can. It's all about the person. It has, to me, gender, generation. It's all about you. You can get up and you can do it. But as far as women, sitting there taking notes and all of that, I'll tell you, don't do it. Don't sit there and be the note taker. Don't volunteer to book all the meetings. Don't volunteer to book all the trips or whatever. Stop. Because the second you start doing that, you're putting your own leadership power down. Because they are looking at you, and by they, I mean all the men in the office, are looking at you like you're their housekeeper. And you're not. You're not the office housekeeper. You're not their secretary. You are whatever your job title says. To live up to that job title, there has to be somebody else in that office that can do all of that work. And it's not you, because I'm sure it's probably not your job description. But you do take your leadership power and you do push it right down, and no one will promote you. They're not going to look at you and say, I want to advance the person who's making coffee, replacing toilet paper, taking notes, and that doesn't scream advancement.
Right. So
and that doesn't scream that you even want it, that you're even looking for it.
Mm-hmm. So if you're in a situation where, like, I mean, and I don't know if these, sometimes I just don't know. I'm like, is this person discriminating against me because I'm female? Or is this person just a general all-round butthead?
Sure.
Like are they like this to everyone? Or like, so how do we know when it's discrimination versus this guy's just an a-hole? How do we know? Discrimination
is a blatant act. If it's something like sexual harassment, that is a blatant act. Listen to your instincts, listen to your gut. It's something that is a very blatant act. When someone says something to you like, I'll pay you more if you sleep with me, that's sexual harassment. Blatantly, right? I mean, if you were to look that up at the EEOC, that is blatant sexual harassment. That should be against any workplace policy. That should be against anything. I mean, that's immoral if you think about it.
So I had this one guy who was CEO of a company in Silicon Valley, and he wanted me to go to a conference with him. We had never met, in person. He just knew me online. He wanted to hire me. And he was like, well, I'll hire you, to come and, help at this conference and, help me, target people and, with PR kind of stuff, with the media, all of that. So I was like, okay, I went, and I got there, and he was like, oh, I thought you'd be more of a party girl. And I was like, no. I might be fun on Twitter, and I mean, I'm not totally boring, but I'm not a party girl, like in photos. If I'm out somewhere, I might do something silly in a photo, but that doesn't mean I'm 24/7 having a party. And so when he said that, I was just like, he thought I would be more of a party girl, because he was like disappointed that I didn't want to like drink and stuff and, like go out late. Because I'm like, I don't want to be out late because, I have to get up and do stuff in the morning.
You should have hired an escort service then.
I'm like, am I being
not a qualified female to do a job? I mean, there's You want a party girl and you want somebody to stay up late and drink with you, then just find an escort or something. There's other things for that.
Right.
So
Right.
It's fine, there's ways you treat people, and there's things that you say and things that you don't say. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but you don't know.
Yeah, and then
people do what amaze me, and some don't.
Yeah, and it was the weirdest situation too. So weird. So I was in my hotel, which was separate from his hotel, and then like he had to leave. And so he said, "Oh, well, you can just take my suite," which was like the presidential suite or whatever. And I was a little weirded out by that, but I was like, "Okay, so you're leaving?" Okay. So I went and I was kind of scared, but he ended up leaving early, maybe because I wasn't a party girl, but he had the suite booked. So in the end, I got the suite, but it was so funny because when I went there, to check in and to move, because there weren't a lot of rooms left. So I ended up in like another hotel. And then I got there and they were like, "Oh yes, Mrs. So-and-so," because he told them his wife was coming. And I was like, so they thought I was his wife arriving. And I was just like, good God, I hope he really left town because I don't want to deal with this guy in my suite and like coming in the middle of the night or something.
That makes you want to throw a high heel at him or something. Throw a big shoe. Oh, what a sleazeball.
Yeah, so I just ordered a lot of room service. Let's put it that way. I was like, I am eating every meal on this tab with this guy. Because they kept calling me
sleazeball right there.
They kept calling me by his name, Mrs. Blank. I won't out him, because I don't know. I don't think he knew what he was doing, but
but he knew what he was doing. His poor wife.
And his what?
His poor wife.
No, he said I was the wife. They thought I was his wife, but he wasn't. He wasn't
really
married. No. He's not married. He's not married. Okay. No. But he told everyone I was his wife.
Okay. I was going to say if he was actually married and I was his wife, I think I would probably throw him out.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to be making any money off of this contract. And I didn't, because I didn't do anything else with that company. So there's one. No. There's another story. I have so many stories I could tell you. It's like where I'm always, I mean, not lately, but, I have stories from the past because now sometimes, some people think I'm so paranoid, but it's because all this stuff has happened to me,
Oh, I understand. I've had stuff too.
Yeah.
There's alarms and bells that start to go off, and you just, when I say your instincts start to kick in and say, this isn't good. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, especially when you get to the hotel and they call you the CEO's wife and he said you'd be coming. And I'm like, what?
There's that ring on my finger. I don't have one.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Oh, don't you? Silly. I know. I was like, don't you mean my uncle? Don't you mean my uncle? Yeah. So it's unfortunate. I do think it's getting better. There are lots of initiatives. I participated in TechCrunch has a diversity program. I know you have your mentorship program, Innovate 50/50, yep, and the Innovate Women Initiative. And then I have been invited to some things, in Silicon Valley geared toward female founders. So, I mean, people are, definitely recognizing it and taking steps, to help.
Oh, definitely. This is becoming more talked about. And the more we talk about it, the better it is because, the easier we're going to make it for the women that follow us. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should be. We should be able to help each other. Give each other a hand, right? Make it simple. So complicated, find a solution, push each other forward.
Yeah. So for someone who's starting a company right now, what steps, if I'm a man or woman, what steps can I take, as I'm launching, or, as other people are launching their companies, to make sure this doesn't happen? And if it does, then what do you do?
There really isn't a whole lot of set protocols, I think. You really have to just be self-aware. Self-aware and self-confident. Confidence is the ultimate goal here, I think, mostly for women. Men don't really have this problem.
I know. I need testosterone. I need some of that.
Men don't, they have plenty of that. That's, I think, where, it's where it all comes from. But, you really need a lot of self-awareness and a lot of self-confidence, because if you are approached like this, and as you grow, as you scale, as you get larger, and as your name gets out there, the chances do increase that it can happen to you. You can't be afraid to say no, or to stand up for yourself, or to say, well, I may lose a little bit of money if I don't do this deal or event or whatever it may be, but, maybe I'm going to save myself a headache. Maybe I'm going to save my sanity. Maybe I'll just save myself, my own self-worth, and say no. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's always someone else who will want to do business with you.
Right.
I know it sounds scary when you first start to say no, because you're not sure when the next deal or the next opportunity is going to come around, but it always comes. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Always. But it's having the confidence in knowing that it's there, and having the confidence to say no, and believing in yourself, believing in your own skills, in your own business, to know that you can get there.
Right.
You just have to know that you're worth it.
Right. And that's what you told me, because as you know, I recently got out of a company. I mean, I still have Volt Lab. I don't want anyone thinking I got out of Volt Lab. I'm still doing that, doing Startup Tuesday. But yeah, just because of the whole programmer culture thing, and just, I didn't want to fight every day. I didn't want to have to fight to, be like, excuse me, I know what I'm talking about, or have people.
And you do. You do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, or just have people snapping at me. I mean, I don't know if that's a male-female thing, or just someone has an issue thing, but I don't like walking on eggshells. I don't think anyone else does, because you're just like, you don't know what's going to happen next, or are meetings happening that you don't know about? You're not being included because you're a girl, and that makes you not cool, because all the guys are going out. And
the guys going out and doing beer meetings and not including you because you're just the only female, or they think you're a distraction. You don't really need to deal with that kind of a hassle.
Yeah.
It's your business. You need to run it. You need to know what's happening. How could you run it if you don't know what's going on? If you can't trust the person that you're working with, if you have a co-founder, that's another thing. You have to be able to trust each other.
Mm-hmm.
You need communication. Open communication is big. You need respect for each other. Don't treat each other poorly. If you ever feel like there's something that's happening, you can't be afraid to walk away. Something better will always come. Sometimes the first business or first idea is just that. It's just your first initial set of thoughts. And sometimes we all know we all work hard to get there, but there's always something better around the corner. You will always find another set. You can always take that and try and launch it into something bigger. You love media, try and do something with social media or marketing. There's always something that it could be born into something else. You don't have to sit there and take it.
Right.
No one has to take it. If you were sitting inside a workplace, you wouldn't be taking it. You would be reporting it.
Right.
So if you're self-employed, you run your own business, why do you have to take it? I don't believe that anyone needs to.
Right. And every guy that I asked for advice, and I know I asked you for advice on the situation too, and every guy I asked said, stay in, don't give up what you started and stay in there. But I was like, but I hate it. I don't like always having to fight for my every day, fight. Not, it wasn't
Why
like
do you have to
actual
fight
fighting.
for something that's yours?
Yeah. But yeah, so, and every guy that I asked though said, don't leave, get someone to buy him out, do this, do that, or whatever. And I was just like, nah, I mean, this was probably the first time that I've walked away because there were people, investors wanting to come in if I stayed. And this is probably the first time I walked away for millions of dollars and just turned around and I was like, you know what? Nope. Because I was worried, this culture was already in the company in the beginning, with I call it the programmer culture. And it's not that I think they know that they're doing it, but they were, and when I would mention something, they didn't understand my perspective, And so, yeah, it's the first time I've definitely walked away from millions of dollars. But you know what? I was like, is this worth a couple $1,000,000 to be treated like crap? No, it's actually not.
No, your self-worth is always worth more than money. You can make more money. And I know that's hard for people to understand and realize when you're making your own money, but you can always make more money. You can take that business idea and you can launch it into something else, something way more beautiful, because you won't have to deal with that. Your self-worth is it's invaluable. You don't need to deal with something else. You don't have to fight for something that's yours. You don't have to. I don't believe in playing all those games. I don't believe in all those shenanigans. I don't believe in, mind games and I'm going to hire a lawyer and I'm going to get you out. And once it's already in your culture, it is so hard to get out of there.
Yeah, I know. And I just didn't even feel comfortable, like bringing people in, bringing investors in to that situation, bringing employees, into that situation. Because I'm like, if I'm getting snapped at, like what's going to happen to them,
Yeah, think about other females. Say you want to hire another female. How is she going to feel? Is she going to quit? Is she going to leave? And is she going to go blast you on social media? You have to think about all of these things. We all have tools in our hands called a phone that we can use, to either to our advantage or to our disadvantage. They can work for us or they cannot work for us. I mean, look what happened to Uber. That played out in social. That played out in the media.
Right. Yeah, you don't want that happening.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
No, you don't want that happening.
Yeah.
You definitely won't make money that way. That
right.
hurts.
2 years down the road, you're in a scandal and your career's ruined because you're a woman leading a company letting this happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we don't need, nobody needs to deal with that. Sometimes you're better off just letting things go.
Yeah.
The hard part is knowing when. And I told you that too. Mm-hmm. It's just hard to know when, but you'll know when. You'll learn. You'll know. It's an instinct. You'll get up one day and say, this is going to be it.
Yeah.
And you did too.
You just reach a point where you're like, you know what? You just don't care. I'm like someone, and I was like someone, could put the millions of dollars right here in front of me. And I'd be like, no, it's just not worth it. It's not worth the stress. And after I left that one, it's like I had so much more energy and I realized that daily stress was dragging me so much. So, now I have so much more energy, and I just feel better about life and I'm able to create more.
What confidence produces, right? Productivity.
Oh, wait. Confidence increases productivity. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I read that from you. I read that in one of your articles.
Yeah. Confidence increases productivity. So now you have the confidence that he was stealing from you to be productive in your own business.
Mm-hmm.
So you can even and if you think about that, you're even more valuable in a way because you can make even more money because you have more productivity.
Right. Yeah. You don't realize.
And the hours that were spent being drained come back.
Mm-hmm. Right. You don't realize how much, a stressful work environment really just sucks the life out of you. Because it was so strange because I got out.
Company's a lot of money.
I got out and I was like, what is going on? I only had 1 cup of coffee today and I'm just like ready to go. I even forgot coffee one day and I was like, what is going on? What is happening?
Yeah, because you felt way more productive. You probably have this light, happy feeling.
And I do.
Your endorphins were probably up. Your endorphins were probably up, and you were ready to go, and you were all excited and happy and felt really good because you didn't have anything weighing you down anymore. And that's exactly how we told you were going to feel once you let that 10-pound weight go. It's like this weight that you drag behind you that you have to constantly turn around and see if it's there and then pick it up again. It's a boulder.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The first couple of days after, I was just like, oh my God, what did I do? Who walks away from this, But, if I stayed, I knew we would be able to grow it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it still will grow, but I'll just, goodbye and good luck.
Sit there and do something more beautiful because you are.
Something more fun, yes. I always say more fun. Something more fun because I wasn't having fun. And when I'm not having fun, I know there's a problem.
Well, you're putting your talents to use. You're doing something incredible and you're helping people. So to me, you're fulfilling something.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for coming and talking. And, I hope that people will contact you and tweet you and, anyone feeling like, what am I going to do? How do I get out of this situation? Valerie has given me lots of great advice. I think I talk to you just about every day almost, right? And I think, I'm like, Valerie, can you read this email? Can you read this email? But just in general, yeah, I mean, it's always nice, to know that you've got a team on your side. And, I know in the last one, Troy was talking about this in the last podcast, and he was just talking about, when you've got your network and things happen, it's not so bad, because you've got your people, you have the people who you've got your back. And, the Innovate 50/50 program is awesome. The mentorship program and Innovate Women. I can't wait to see what happens with that. And then just all the advice that you give in your business and leadership coaching and all of the articles, I love reading them. I love reading the articles.
I love writing them.
Yeah. So if you're having an issue, definitely look Valerie up. What's the best way to contact you?
Social media, you can find me just about anywhere at AskMeMC. You can email me at valerie@askmemc.com. My website, askmemc.com. You can always send me a message there or find something that you're looking for.
Yeah, and I'll put all the links and everywhere. So everywhere that I post the podcast, I'll post links to everything so that everyone can easily find Valerie and ask VMC, ask you questions.
You can ask me lots of questions. I love answering them.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. It was a lot of fun.